Hello, everyone, and welcome to Metro TV. I'm your host, Andy Hoig, publisher and CEO of Metro Magazine. We have a special episode today talking with organizations, nonprofits, and businesses about how they're being impacted and also dealing with the coronavirus. So don't go away. We will be right back. We are here, or me, here with Lynette. Lynette, you're executive director for Project Houseworks.
That's correct.
So thank you for joining me. I mean, I will say this is the first interview that we're doing this in a different way because of everything going on in the world. And you know what? I just think this is going to be more of the norm. But let's talk about just what is Project Houseworks for people who aren't familiar with Project.
Sure. Thanks for having me on, Andy. I appreciate it. Project Houseworks is a nonprofit that provides free home repairs and modifications for seniors. And so we do a whole house assessment. We'll do anything the senior needs in order to stay and age in a safe and healthy home. So that's a new roof if they need it, plumbing, electrical, lots of home modifications, grab bars, ramps and railings so that they can be safe in their own home.
So, I mean, obviously, over the last couple of weeks, I think we're a little bit over 2 weeks into the coronavirus. I mean, when it really started to impact, I think, Omaha.
Right.
So let's just talk about it. I'm looking at some talking points. You've suspended your interior repairs and modifications for seniors to reduce risk. So let's just talk about that.
Right. So, just probably like everybody else, we were taking baby steps into this. When it first became, we became aware of how it was affecting seniors, that's really when we had to step back and say, okay, how are we going to modify what we do? Our initial reaction was, we're going to limit the service and we're only going to do one project a week, and so that we wouldn't be exposing as many seniors. Well, that decision really only lasted about 2 days before we really realized that we could be walking around with symptoms and not even know it. And so that's when we decided to completely suspend all of our projects so that we did not have, weren't risking exposing any senior to this virus.
Yeah, because, what we're finding out and what's been told is seniors are really the most susceptible. I mean, they're the ones that are kind of at the higher risk of really getting it in an extreme way and potentially not being able to recover from it. So
exactly. And we certainly would not be the one, we would not want to be the ones that were exposing a senior.
Yeah. So planning for long-term by developing a new exterior repair program. Talk a little bit about that. Because, I mean, the restrictions, we're not sure how long they are. I mean, I think right now they're through the end of April, but who knows?
Right. And exactly. And I think, what we're thinking is that while restrictions may be lifted for a lot of us, there still could be a great risk to seniors. So knowing that this could last a while and really impact our programming, we started to get creative like a lot of people are doing and thought, how can we still make an impact in our programming? And so we've developed an exterior repair program. We already do exterior repairs. We replace roofs and we do some concrete. But our goal this summer, then, as soon as the weather starts cooperating and as soon as the restrictions are lifted, is to go and do assessments just on the outside and continue with our programming in that way.
So you have Brush Up Nebraska. The Brush Up event that you have is in August. So that's still going as planned. And talk about that event, because that's a big one.
It is. So Brush Up is an event where we engage volunteer teams. A lot of companies and churches will sign up to paint the house for a senior. And so it'll be the 31st year this August, and we don't want to have to cancel it. We're hopeful at this point we aren't going to have to cancel it. And so we're continuing right now with the plans, getting teams recruited and sponsors recruited. And we have lots of homeowners that have already signed up. I think we have over 50 homeowners that already are showing interest in the program, and they, badly need their house painted. And So
Yeah.
we're keeping our fingers crossed and really hoping that this event can go on.
So how do people register for that? I mean, if you want to volunteer for that.
Sure, go to projecthouseworks.org and go to the brush up site, and there's a place where you can enter your name and email, and we'll respond back to you and get the process started.
Yeah. And so right now, just like what we're dealing with, how can people support Project Houseworks when you're not able to do things, but what can they do?
So our staff really is we're still working from home, social distancing as it's been recommended, and we keep in contact every day through our Zoom, and the staff talks once a day. We've also started using a new app called Monday.com, which I highly recommend, and that's really helped us organize since we're not in the same workplace. And so as far as helping, obviously we can always use donations as they come in, where we will just put them to good use. And as we continue to plan our programs for the summer, and we can't, we've had actually a lot of people, and you being one of them, Andy, so thank you so much, but you reached out and said, how can I help you? And I've had quite a few people say, what can I do for seniors? We know that they're the ones being most affected right now. And because we have to stay away from them, there isn't a whole lot that our organization can do for them.
Yeah.
But as soon as we can get back in full swing, there might be some opportunities just to even help with yard work. So we'll be putting that out as soon as we know what this is going to look like.
Yeah. Well, thank you for chatting with me in this new way. Usually you're sitting across the couch from me,
Right.
But we all have to we're getting creative, because
That's
life
right.
is not stopping. What your organization does can't stop. You have to modify, and everything's important. I mean, these are important things that you're doing. So
Thanks, Andy.
yeah, Lynette, thanks so much for joining me.
All right. Have a good day.
You too. Bye. So I'm here with Julie Shrader. She is the founder, CEO of Rejuvenating Women, and we are doing something new. We are doing Zoom interviews. So Julie, thank you for joining me.
Yeah. Thanks for asking me to do this.
Yeah, we're living in interesting times right now. So just tell us what Rejuvenating Women. Who do you serve? What do you do?
Yeah. We help women who have been trafficked, labor and sex trafficked, and we serve women all over the United States. We don't just serve anyone locally, although we do. We've opened it up so that safe houses in other states can come or can send women our way for the restorative piece.
Yeah. So let's just talk about this. First, how many number of women did you serve in 2019?
So we served 270 in 2019, and out of those, 16 moved in the house. They all couldn't obviously be there, but move in out.
Yeah.
So 270 are the number of women who've reached out for help.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk about the coronavirus. I mean, how has that affected your organization?
Yeah. A lot. Every nonprofit I know right now is struggling. So we're all in this thing together. And we, like a lot of nonprofits, we had fundraisers set up that would have been good, fundraisers, and those have had to cancel.
Yeah.
So we've had to be clever, and we've come up with another gym. We've come up with basically a $10 challenge, Sweat for a Cause challenge, to do some kind of workout on video or photo, post it on Facebook, and then you tag other people and then ask them to donate $10 and do a workout video. So we're hoping that builds up some steam here. Again, it's, we're just asking for $10 or whatever. So anything that can help during this time.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, and congratulations for actually getting creative, because you have to get creative. If you're not
Yep.
thinking outside of the box and thinking about
Right.
stuff that you probably would never maybe have thought about before,
Right.
you know, it's so important to the viability and also the people you serve to be
Right.
doing those types of things.
Right. Right. I would agree very
Yeah.
much.
So let's talk a little bit about what's kind of new. What's going on
Yeah.
new in your organization?
We have recently, we have a new board member who is a human trafficking investigator. I don't know what all I can say because I know he does some undercover stuff. So I'll
Mhm.
leave it at that.
Sure.
Through a law enforcement agency. And what he sits on our board now, which is great because he gives us insight from the other side.
Yeah.
We have opened up the home to house women who need a safe place to go temporarily. So
Okay.
anyone under 90 days can stay there. They don't have to worry or commit to the program, although there would be things that they'd have to do as far as still go to AA. We'd have to take them to a counselor and start all that and make sure they're taking their medications as prescribed, things like that. But they wouldn't have to do the more intense piece of the program or
Yeah. And so let's talk about your gala this year. Who's your speaker? And then I want to kind of end it with how people can connect with you. So let's just
You
talk
bet.
about the gala.
You bet. This coming year, it's September 10th. Goodness, why am I'm at a blank for that?
But I think Thursday, because it's on a Thursday.
Yeah, it's on a
Yeah,
Thursday.
that is the
I'm
10th.
like,
That
oh
is
my
the 10th.
goodness. It's on September 10th. Same time. It's going to start at 5:30. We are doing it a little different. So our keynote speaker is Centoya Brown Long, who was a victim of sex trafficking. And as a teenager, she actually killed a guy that bought her to escape.
Wow.
And was
Yeah.
sentenced to life in prison in Tennessee. There's it's been all over the news. You can look it up. But she was set free, and she has been out there talking about freedom and talking about what God's done in her life. So she's going to be a big one, and she's got a book. We're going to do a big book signing for VIPs and before the gala starts, and we're excited about it. We're really excited.
So how can people connect with you?
Yeah. They can go to our website, rejuvenatingwomen.com.
Okay.
You can do .org as well too. It'll get to us as well. But that would be one way. They can email me at julie@rejuvenatingwomen.org. We are about to launch our website to sell tickets because we've had a lot of people asking for that already. Now it's slowed down because of what's going on. So
Sure.
we're going to wait until for a little bit until we release or launch the tickets, but be looking for that on social media too.
All right. Well, Julie, thank you so much for what you have created and what you're doing for women. I mean, and men. Just thank you for everything you're doing. So
Thanks, Andy.
And like Rejuvenating Women on Facebook.
Yes,
that's a great way to stay informed. So
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you, Andy.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Talk
Have
to
a
you
good
later.
day.
Bye.
All right. Bye.
So I'm here with Mary Bandaneck. She is the founding partner of Bandaneck Weaver. Mary, also a yoga instructor and teaches classes on mindfulness. So Mary, thank you for joining me on this Zoom call.
Thanks for asking me. Trying out the Zoom thing, getting more and more practice seems like a good thing right now.
I know. I love it. And I love the painting behind you talking about creating a peaceful space to be in. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's intentional. So Gary and I traveled to France last year, and we went to a virtual reality exhibit. And I'll be really honest that I went because I love him and it was for him, and I was not expecting to be completely blown away by the experience. And I've always liked some of Van Gogh's stuff, but we saw these Van Gogh paintings in this virtual environment where they had beautiful music and all of his different paintings on the wall. You could walk around. We actually stayed for 2 of the shows rather than 1. So I came home, and I'd actually been working on making my home that your surroundings are important. And it's
Mhm.
actually, Gary and a couple others in my life, I've always been like, well, I'm too busy for that. And right now, as much time as I'm spending at home, I'm really grateful. I've taken some steps in that direction. But that piece was, $40 on Amazon.com. And it's like one of the nicest things I have in terms of just creating when I walk in through my house, come in through my kitchen, I see that and it gives me a sense of like calm.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about, what's going on in the world and how can we create more peace, serenity? How can we be more mindful right now? Because we're all spending a lot of time at home. So take it away. What can we do?
And so and to say I'm really grateful for having a lot of years of practice right now, because I'm finding myself having to use it every minute of every day. And if I actually have to leave my house, it's very anxiety inducing, even though you get to the point where, oh, I can't stand being in my home anymore. But the most important thing in my mind is this basic principle that we talk about in mindfulness, which is to be aware of the breath. So every one of us is thinking, are we going to get through this? Are we
Mhm.
going to be alive at the end of this? If you have an allergy cough, you cough, you're like, oh my God, do I have COVID, right? And if you hear somebody else cough, you're like, oh my gosh, did they just, cough COVID on me? It's the sort of reaction to, or if you have little sinus things, and how do you distinguish whether I have COVID or whatever? And then you go down this journey in your mind, like, oh gosh, I'm going to get sick. My family's, I have an 87-year-old mom living down the street, and you just lost yours this year. You know
Yeah.
how hard that is. I'm bringing her food, and I'm just like frantic about the possibility that I could not sanitize it completely. So that's using the breath work, which is just, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, when you catch yourself going down that path, it's just pausing and taking a deep breath and bringing the attention to the breath to bring yourself back to the moment where you are right now, as opposed to the panic that just kind of takes the mind and runs with it.
And is it taking a deep breath or do you count to 10? I mean, what does taking a deep breath mean? I don't,
Yeah, no, that's actually a really good question, because it's different. Because when I talk about breath, what you see sometimes with people going, you know, and in Kundalini practice, there's some intention to that. But right now, it's just to sit, and if you're, or stand. I'm about taking a breath, and more than even taking or how you take the breath, it's getting your attention on the fact that you're taking a breath,
Mm-hmm.
right? So as opposed to, but then, and you might catch yourself, like when I get super anxious, I will start to catch myself breathing really fast, or sometimes somebody else in my life might point that out to me, you're breathing really fast. And then it's be like, oh, okay, just consciously take as much breath. And some people teach a belly breath. I really like to take the breath into the side bodies and just fill the lungs up as much as you can. So
Mm-hmm.
deep breath in, exhale. And as you exhale, letting the shoulders and everything soften as much as you can. So just inhaling through the nose. Sometimes you can exhale through the mouth or the nose. Do what comes natural to you, but just get your attention to the fact that you're breathing first, and then begin to try and just slow the breath down. And again, you can do this whether you're sitting on the couch in front of a Van Gogh or wherever, because another one of the really important things right now, in terms of like here, I've created this setting, is to find some space in your house where you can go to that is like, if you can, if you don't have a room that you can go, like my son's moved out. So I took his room and I've made it into a meditation room.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really great. If you don't have the luxury of having a room and you're got a house full of people right now, maybe you find one space where you go stand to take that
Yeah.
breath. That is like, when I go over here, I shift my mind to a more peaceful place. If you have to go to the grocery store, that's a really stressful experience right now. And it's like, there's people who are not respecting the 6-foot rule there. And there's a lot of people who are. But so that's another place, is like, just stop, take a breath, and
Yeah.
notice that you're taking the breath.
Yeah. And one thing I want to ask you about the breath is the thing is also it's the oxygen you're bringing into your body, or is it more about the breath? Because oxygen, I know, if we're just breathing shallow, we're not getting oxygen into our body. Does that have anything to do with breath work?
So it does, But in terms of just becoming aware, so if you think about it, if you take a really long, slow breath, it's more about, and you are bringing oxygen in, right? And
Sure.
that matters. And so
Mhm.
if you study like the yoga theory of that, you're inhaling that which is good and you're exhaling that which doesn't serve you. So it's one way to look at it.
Right,
Or
right,
you can look at it just from the perspective that your mind and your body are connected.
right.
I like to think about the breath, and not even from the technical perspective, but as I take that exhale, can I soften the muscles? Can I bring my attention right to, here and now? But as I inhale, I try and get as much air in as I can, but it's more, I think of it more, it is filling it with oxygen that you very much need. But I'm also just thinking about, I'm focusing on kind of
Yeah,
getting as much in from the perspective. Then when I exhale, that's when I let the muscles soften and go.
yeah,
I get aware of that and just bring myself to a better place.
yeah. Well, we're going to continue to have conversations about this, and maybe I'll talk to you once a week or once every other week for the next few weeks, because we're kind of in this, lockdown or social distancing at least till the end of April, and who knows what's going to happen beyond that. But just what I hear you saying is just really breathe, because that gets you into a present moment and releases stress or anxiety.
That's the most fundamental. And the other things I would just add is if you can get outside at all, even if it's just on your deck or porch, get outside, any form of movement. There's
Yeah,
all kinds of online yoga studios offering online yogas. You do some visualization of a healthy space. Those kind of things all matter right now.
yeah. All right, Mary, thank you so much for chatting with me. And we're going to get through this.
We are.
We will. So, all right, thank you again. And yep, I'll connect with you soon. So,
Thanks for having me.
yeah, you're welcome. Bye. Thank you, everyone, for joining me today. You can find out more about Metro Magazine and so many wonderful nonprofits. Go to spiritofomaha.com, and please follow us on Facebook, like us on Facebook, Metro Magazine, all one word. We'll be posting a lot of information there as well. Thank you, and we will see you back here next week.